Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Shazia Khan, and today's unit that we'll be doing is human physiology. And the unit has two learning outcomes and an assignment discussion. And the assignment brief is just on the screen. If you can see that, I've shared the assignment brief with you. And this is available on Moodle for you. And we'll go through this towards the assignment discussion session. So you've got a little bit of an idea what you need to do in this assignment and what the marks are and what the questions are. So just a quick glance of what is expected of you in the assignment. So just quickly going through that. So you can have a look at that in your own time because it's available on Moodle. And we have an assignment discussion session, which I go through it in more detail, okay? I'm going to go on to the learning outcome that we've got the first one to do, which is learning outcome 1. So the learning outcome that we've got to do is learning outcome 1 today, which looks at understanding that human body comprises of different organs. So the different types of organs that are within a human body, and why there's a need to have these organs within that body as well, and how they function. We're going to be looking at elements of that, okay? So the next slide is the indicative content. So levels of organizational, organism, organ systems, organ tissue, cell. We look at the nervous system, the digestive system, and we look at elements of the cardiovascular system, the respiratory system, and how it works with different organs. And then we go on to look at the excretory system as well. So this is the indicative content for learning outcome 1. We then go on to the key terminology. So we look at what are the levels of organization, organism, organ systems, organ tissue, cell, organelle, molecule, and atom. So atoms are firstly the first one, which is made up of molecules. Molecules are made up of cells, and cells make up tissues. So we look at that, and two of more kinds of tissues working together make an organ of the body. So like we said, molecule is the group of atoms, and then organelle is specialized submit with a cell that has a specific function. The cell is the basic unit of life. A tissue, like we mentioned, is the group of similar cells. Organ, a group of different tissues that work together to perform a task, maybe eating, maybe drinking, something like that. Organ system, so how they work together to perform a set of functions. And then organism as well, we look at the multiple organ system as well. So this is just the key terminology that we'll be going through, and elements of that what we'll be using to look at the human physiology learning outcome 1. So we look at now the different types of tissues. So there are 4 more main types of tissues. You have the connective tissue, the epithelial tissue, the muscle tissue, and the nervous tissue. So the first one is the connective tissue, which is the element of is the most abundant one, and it's the most abundant tissue type in the body. In general, connective tissue consists of cells and extracellular matrix. The extracellular matrix is made up of ground substance and protein fibers. So in more detailed way of connective tissue, apart from the blood and lymph, consists of 3 main components, which are cells, group, ground substance, and fibers. Some cell types of things like within connective tissue is things like structural, immunological, defense, and energy reservoir. Then we have the element of the epithelial, which is creates protective barriers and is involved in the diffusion of ions and molecules. And then you have the muscle one, which contracts to initiate movement in the body. So it can be things like, elastic, extensive, so skeletal, cardiac. And then we've got the final one, which is the nervous tissue, which transmits and integrates information through the central and peripheral nervous system. And that's things like, axons and soma, and it's your blood brain, and that kind of elements of that will look at, you know, how they function, your nervous system, how it functions, how it uses the element of other, you know, like the cells or soma, and the two types, there's neurons and glia, and these are cells that are transmission of electrical impulses, and then glia is support and nourish neurons. So now we're going to go on to organs and the example of what an organ is. And here the example that's given is the heart. And they are the examples of organs, and you know, they are made up of the body, and your body can't function without them. So it could be your brain, it could, like they've put in the diagram, an example could be your heart, it could be the lungs, it could be the stomach, it could be the liver, the kidney. These are different types of organs. And then, so this example here, they've given the heart. Then we look at the organ system. So there are 12 organ systems in the human body. And they are things like the integumentary system, skeletal system, muscular system, nervous system, endocrine system, cardiovascular system, and that would be your heart, your arteries, your veins. And then you've got things like lymphatic systems. And then you've got your respiratory systems. And that could be things like, you know, your breathing, your lungs, your trachea. And then you've got the digestive system. Obviously, that's processing of your food, which we're going to go through. And the urinary system, waste elimination. So your bladders, your kidneys, it could be, you know, how the waste goes out. And then your reproductive system, which is things like, you know, your ovaries, your uterus, your fallopian tubes. And that's more female and male. And then you've got your excretory system. Excuse me. And then we have the nervous system as well. So your nervous system is your body's command. So what you can do, it's made up of your brain, spinal cord, and nerves. So your nervous system works by sending messages or electrical signals between your brains and all other parts of your body. And these signals are other parts of your body. These signals tell you to breathe, to move yourself, you know, to speak and see. For example, your nervous system keeps track of what's going on inside and outside of your body and decides how to respond in certain situations. Your nervous system regulates complicated processes like your thoughts and your memories, and it also plays an essential role in the things that body does not. Body does without thinking, like blushing or sweating, and it could be examples of blinking, things like that. Your nervous system's main function is to send messages from various parts of your body to your brain, and from your brain back to your body to tell your body what to do. And these could be things, regular messages, as we mentioned, your movements, it could be your thoughts, your feelings, wound healing. It could be, you know, your senses, breathing, tasting, touching. It could be sleep. It could be your digestion, you know, it could be body processes. So the nervous system is really important, but they all, remember, these systems all work interlinked together. So here is a video that you can watch in your own time, and it's on the nervous system, and it's quite interesting. It's a 9-minute video looking at the nervous system and how it impacts on individuals. The next one is the digestive system. So the digestive system is a group of organs that work together to digest and absorb nutrients from food you eat. Digestion is a complicated process, and conditions and disorders can disrupt that process. Knowing how the digestive system works may help you get into healthy and know how it's time to get, you know, if there's any sort of medical issues or anything. And the digestive system includes the mouth, throat, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and anus, and it's also the salivary glands. It breaks down and absorbs nutrients from foods and liquids you consume, and your digestive system also takes care of your waste as well, the stuff that's left over after you digest the food, and your digestive system's food turns food into waste. So it could be things like, into your stool. The digestive system involves a lot of steps and several stops as food and liquid move through the system. So you digest starts when you first bite your food, when you smell the food, the salivary glands, and then next you chew it, which is the peristalsis, and then your stomach releases it, which is enzymes, and then the small intestine turns it semi-solid food into fluid to absorb it, and then your pancreas help by sending digestive juices to your small intestine. And then the final step is your small intestine sends leftover food to the large intestines, which becomes stool or, urinary system. And here is a video on the digestive system that you can watch in your own time. And it looks at how the digestive system works, and it's by Emma Bryce. So have a look at that video. It's really interesting on the digestive system. The next one we're looking at is the cardiovascular system. So this is provides blood through the body and supplies oxygen as well, the cardiovascular system. And it consists of it comprises of, the heart, arteries, veins, and capillaries. The heart and vessels work intricately to provide adequate blood to all parts of the body, and the regulation of the cardiovascular system occurs via a myriad of stimuli, including change in blood, volume, hormones, electrolytes, homeostates, medications, adrenal glands, kidneys, and much more. The heart is the organ that pumps through the vessel, and it's consists of two main loops, systematic circulation and pulmonary circulation, and its purpose is to provide adequate blood circulation through the body, and the pulmonary circulation allows for the oxygenation of the blood, and the systematic circulation allows for the oxygenated blood and nutrients to reach the rest of the body. There's a video here on how the cardiovascular system works, which you can look at that in your own time, and it will give you an idea of how the system works and what are the connections in between it. The next one is looking at the respiratory system and what that includes. So the respiratory system is the organs and structures in your body that allow you to breathe. So it includes things like your lungs, your nose, your mouth, your tube-like structures, so your airways that connect them. You also have muscles and blood vessels that support your respiratory system, and ribs to protect it. These parts together bring oxygen into your body when you inhale, and get rid of carbon dioxide when you exhale it. The main function of the respiratory system is to pull in oxygen for your body's cells and provide and get rid of any carbon dioxide, which is any sort of waste product. And you do this by breathing in and out and through gas exchange between the smaller air sacs of your lungs, which are called the alveoli, and the blood vessels running nearby. So your respiratory system also warms and adds moisture to the air you breathe in. It protects your body from any sort of particles you breathe in, allows you to talk, it helps you smell, and it looks at balances level of acidity in your body. So again, there's a video there on the respiratory system, like the other ones, so you can look at that in your own time. Excuse me. And this looks at how the respiratory system actually works. The next one is the excretory system. And the main excretory organs include things like your kidney, ureter, urinary bladder, and urethra. Kidneys filter the blood, and urine is the filter obtained. Urine passes to the urinary bladder and via the ureter and is expelled out of both blood, and this is known as micturition. Excuse me. And it removes waste products of the cellular metabolism. And this is a video on the excretory system and the human excretory system and how it works and how it supports other organs as well. So the next one is the endocrine system. And this system is complex network of glands and organs. It uses hormones to control and coordinate your body's metabolism, energy level, and reproduction growth and redevelopment, and response to injury, stress, and mood. So, you know, its function is to maintain any sort of elements of control in your body. And it consists of, like I said, tissues, mainly glands, and create release hormones. Hormones are chemicals that coordinate different functions in your body by carrying messages through your blood to your organs, skin, muscles, and other tissues. The main function of the endocrine system is to release hormones into your body while continuously monitoring them. And some examples could be metabolism, growth, development, sexual function, reproduction, your mood. So it could be elements of that. And here is a video on the endocrine system and how it works, and it responds to your body as well. Now we're going to look at 1.1. Describe the levels of organization within an organism. And we looked at elements of that, the first one being atoms. So the difference between each one, we look at elements of that. So you've got a little element of understanding this. So, you know, you've got atoms, which are the smallest units of the matter that cannot be broken down further by chemical reactions. Molecules, again, are made up of 2 or more atoms bonded together. And then cells, they are the basic units of life, the smallest things that carry the functions such as growth and reproduction. You've got tissues, group of cells that work together to perform a specific function. And you've got the elements of the organs as well, which are units of multiple tissues that perform an independent function. The organ system, which are groups of organs that work together to perform a function. And then the organism is a living thing made up of 1 or more cells that work together to carry out a function. And that could be plants and fungi and bacteria. So the major levels of organizations in the body. So the major levels of organization in the body start from the simplest, which is the most common: atoms, molecules, organelles, cells, tissue, organs, and the human organism. And these are the main part of it. And that diagram explains the level of organization of human body from the smallest chemical to the largest organism in level. So, you know, you've got the top bits, which are hydroatoms, then water molecules, cellular, and then tissue level, organ level, unitary tract system on there, and then the organism level as well. So it identifies each one in that diagram. So the levels of the first one is cells, which is the basic building block of living organisms. So it's the main thing. The cell is there to identify any sort of elements of carry out any sort of particular functions. So it's really important in regards to that. And it may be procatrician, or without a nucleus, or eukaryotic. So let's just go through each one so we've got a bit of an idea. So the prokaryotes are organisms whose cells lack a nucleus and other organs, and the prokaryotes are divided into 2 distinct groups, which is the bacteria and the archaea, which scientists believe have unique evolutionary lineages. and most prokaryotes are small single-celled organisms that have a relatively simple structure. The next one is the tissue in the body. And there are 4 basic tissues, like we explained before: connective tissue, epithelial tissue, muscle tissue, and nervous tissue. And we explained elements and we looked at the elements of the tissue structure. So, the tissue structure is there to describe a group of cells that are similar in structure and perform a specific function. And as we mentioned, the 4 main ones: epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscle tissue, and nervous tissue. And these elements have to work together to look at the element of tissue. The next one is looking at the organs in the body. So the organs are specialized structures in your body that handle specific jobs. Some of the best known organs are the heart, brain, or liver, but many other structures count as organs too. That includes some you might not think of, like your skin. Each of your cells is like an individual worker doing a specific job. Tissues are a group of related cells teamed up with the same. So organs consist of many tissues that work together. So, they all work together. Organs are part of bigger systems that handle interconnected jobs, and some organs can be part of one system. Some examples of organ systems and organs are things like cardiovascular, digestive, where the stomach and the esophagus work together, endocrine, pancreas, and thyroid. So they all work together to maintain this level. Then we've got the organ systems. The organ systems that work together in regards to it. So you have the organ systems, and it's a group of organs that work together in your body to perform a complex function. So they are such as pumping blood or processing any sort of nutrients in your body. And there's 11 organs in the body: circulatory, lymphatic system, the respiratory system, the integumentary system, the endocrine system, the gastrointestinal, which is the digestive system, and the urinary system, which is the excretory system, the musculoskeletal system, the nervous system, and the reproductive system, and the immune system, as we went through a little bit of them earlier on as well. Organ systems work together to keep the body in good health. For example, the circulatory system and the digestive system work jointly to deliver nutrients through the body. So next one is 1.2, describe the examples of major organ systems in the body. So, as I mentioned, it's things like the respiratory system, circulatory system, endocrine system, digestive systems. So these are the main ones. And a system is organization of a varying numbers and kinds of organs, so arranged together, they perform this complex function. So the main ones are things like skeletal, muscular, nervous, endocrine, cardiovascular, the heart, respiratory, breathing, digestive, and the reproductive. So, they are all the ones that work together. The organism level. The organism level is the highest level of organization considered in anatomy and physiology. An organism is a living being that has cellular structure, and the organism level is the highest level of organization, and it can independently perform any physiological functions necessary for life. And this is just a glossary with all the terms on it. So what cells are: smallest independently functioning unit of organisms. In animals, a cell contains cytoplasm composed of fluid and organelles. What an organ is: functional distinct structure composed of 2 or many types of tissues. Organ structure, organ system, a group of organs that work together. Organism, living being that are cellular structure that can work independently, and tissue, a group of closely related cells. So there are 11 major systems in the human body, of which are composed of specialist organs and tissues that work together to perform specific duty functions. Sorry, here are some examples of the major organs in the state. So you've got things like the circulatory system, which consists of the heart, blood vessels, and blood, and its main function is to transport oxygen, nutrients, and hormones throughout the body. Then you've got the respiratory system, which exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the body and the air, acid-base, balance regulation, phonations, and then the digestive system is mechanical and chemical degradation of food with the purpose of absorbing into the body and using as energy. You have the nervous system, which is the initiation and regulation of vital body functions, sensation, and body movements. You have the immune system, which looks at the system of lymph nodes, spleen nodes, and both, and defending the body against any pathogens and foreign invaders. Muscular system, which looks at the element of the muscles in the body and how to perform physical functions. The skeletal system, which looks at the joints and bones and provides support for them. Here you've got the integumentary system, which is physical protection of the body surface, sensory reception, vitamins and synthesis, and the urinary system, which is the filtering of any sort of blood and eliminating unnecessary compounds and waste by producing and excreting urine. And then you have the reproductive system, which is production of reproductive cells and contribution towards the reproduction system. So your vagina, your uterus, your ovaries, and it's to produce and transport gametes and support the development of offspring. Next one is to look at explaining the structure. Sorry, 1.3, explain the relationship between structure, system, structure, and function within the organ states. So organ systems are composed, like we said, of different tissues, and all of them work together because each one elements of that work together. So it's a complex thing, but they all work together, the organ systems, and they have to work together to perform a certain function. For example, the respiratory system is made up of lungs, bronchi, trachea, and other structures that work together to facilitate any sort of functions that they work to get oxygen, or any sort of structure of the lungs, so the air spaces. So they have to work together to maintain this. So similarly, the digestive system is composed of mouth. So we've got things like, the digestive system. It has to process food and absorb nutrients, minerals. So it works together with the other systems as well in regards to breakdowns of food can be absorbed. And it includes both mechanical digestion and chemical digestion. So in mechanical digestion, chunks of food are broken in smaller pieces, and the chemical digestion, large molecules like proteins and starches broken into simpler units can readily be absorbed. And then, it has to work with the small intestines and the large intestines, which carries enzymes released from pancreas and liver, so they work together. Then you've got the between the structure, you've got the respiratory system and the circulatory system. They work together closely to deliver oxygen to cells and get rid of carbon dioxide the cells produce. The circulatory system picks up oxygen in the lungs and drops it into the tissues. That performs the reverse service for carbon dioxide. So how the organs actually work together is really important, because if they didn't work together, then, you know, it'd be really difficult for them to produce, you know, and function any sort of element of, you know, the organs, you know, how they work together. They need to work together to perform, you know, the function that it has to perform. Next slide is on the relationship between structure and function is fundamental. You know, the structure of each component with an organ system is designed to perform a specific role. For example, the structure of millions lungs with the millions of tiny airwaves, you know, it could be the element that, you know, they have to, you know, they have to work together to perform a function. And it depends on the integrated activity. For instance, the digestive system, organs cooperate with processed food, and the survival of organisms depend on the integrated activity of all organs, often coordinated by the endocrine and nervous system. So, you know, there are some, for example, the respiratory and circulatory systems work together to provide the body, as we mentioned, to get rid of oxygen, to get rid of carbon monoxide. And then the lungs provide a place where the oxygen can reach the blood and carbon dioxide can be removed from it. So they need to work together, you know, and maintain this, you know, function between them, and maintain, you know, to make sure that the body is working together and maintaining a good, you know, system together and circulating things properly. Because if they didn't work together, they wouldn't cooperate and the function would be all wrong. So 1.4, explain how organs work together to maintain the normal body function. And we mentioned a little bit earlier as well. The digestive and circulatory system gets nutrients good from food and hands it over to the blood, and the circulatory system then carries those nutrients where they need to. So it filters out waste from body and pushes it through intestines out of the body. So this is how they work together to make sure that the digestive and circulatory system work together well. The next one is the respiratory and circulatory system. And the circulatory system, which is made up of the heart and blood and vessel, actually supports the respiratory system by bringing food, blood to and from the lungs. The circulatory system helps deliver nutrients and oxygens from the lungs to the tissues and organs throughout the day, and it also helps remove any sort of carbon dioxide. And your lungs and respiratory system automatically perform this vital process called gas exchange, so they work together to maintain that. Then you've got the element of the nervous system and the muscular system, how they work together. So the from walking and bending to even breathing, every moment your body makes depends on your neuromuscular system. So the intricate system includes your joints, muscles, and nerves all working together to provide a link between your thoughts. So the neuromuscular system includes all the muscles, as we mentioned, connecting them. So every movement in the body needs communication between the brain and the muscle. And the nervous system links thoughts and actions by sending messages as electronic impulses from the brain to other parts of the body. So it's really important that they work together. Then you've got the endocrine and various systems. The endocrine system is in charge of creating and releasing any sort of hormones to maintain countless body functions. The endocrine tissues include the pituitary gland, thyroid, pancreas, and others, and it consists of tissues. And it works with different systems. It consists of your glands, organs, and how it works with other systems. It works with the digestive tract. So, you know, your digestive, your stomach, small intestines to release any sort of organ, releases several hormones. It works with the kidneys as well, and the part of the urinary system as well. And then you've got the integumentary skin and immune system. So The skin, the hair, the nails, and glands work harmoniously to protect the body from harm and maintain homeostasis. The integumentary system works with the following bodily systems: immune system, and it acts as a physical barrier to disease-causing germs and house immune systems. Your integumentary system stores fat, water, glucose, and vitamin D and helps support your immune system to protect you from diseases. And your integumentary system has many important functions because it, like we said, it provides physical protection against any sort of bacteria or any sort of germs. Then we have the urinary and circulatory system. So the circulatory and urinary system interact closely in the body. The circulatory system transports blood throughout the body, delivering oxygen and nutrients to cells and carrying out waste products. And the kidneys part of the urinary system filter out waste products, toxins, and excess substances from the blood, such as the urea, uric acid, and excess water to form urine. And the urine is then excreted from the body, helping to maintain the body's chemical balance and remove any sort of waste. And it's really important, how the organs work together, to maintain this body function. And if they, for organ systems, often, they have to work together, interconnected. For example, after a large meal, just an example, is eaten, several organ systems work together to help the digestive system obtain more blood to perform its function. So the digestive systems enlist the aid of the cardiovascular system and the nervous system. And the function of the organ system depends on, like we mentioned earlier, the activity of its organs, how they work together to keep you healthy and alive. Some body systems work together to complete a job. For example, the respiratory and circulatory systems work together to provide the body with oxygen and get rid of body of carbon dioxide. And the lungs provide a place where oxygen can reach the body and carbon dioxide can be removed. And they have to work together to maintain this system where they are healthy and keeps you alive. Your body needs to work together with other organs, so communication between the organs is vital to work together. They must respond to each other, and they are needed to balance with each other. Like the endocrine system, as we mentioned, the glands. Once in the blood, endocrine hormones circulate cells everywhere. So, they work with the other systems in place to perform this. As we mentioned, the cellular respiration is the intracellular process that breaks down glucose with oxygen to produce carbon dioxide and energy in the form of ATP molecules, and it's process by which cells obtain usable energy to power other cellular processes. And the glucose needed for cellular respiratory comes from the digestive system via the cardiovascular system, and the oxygen needed for cellular respiratory comes from the respiratory system, also via the cardiovascular system. So you could see how they work together and why they need to work together, to have a healthy body, but also, make sure that you're alive as well. So the example is the concept of a fight or flight response. And this is a good example of how the nervous system and the endocrine systems control other organ systems responses. So the fight or flight response begins with the nervous system perceives sudden danger, and then the brain sends a message to the endocrine system via the pituitary gland for the adrenal glands to secrete their hormones, which is cortisol and adrenaline. And these hormones flood the circulation, affect other organs throughout the body, including the cardiovascular, urinary, sensory, and digestive systems. Specific responses include increased heart rate, things like bladder relaxation, tunnel vision, and shunting of blood away from the digestive system and towards the muscles, brain, and other vital organs needed to fight or flee. So this system works quite a lot in regards to elements of, how the body would work. So how they would, in regards to, trying to get the body to enable them to react together, and make sure that your body is, that if it's stuck in that response, it's working together. So, you need to make sure this is a really good example in regards to like your psychological change in your body. And it is one that's used quite a lot within a lot of organizations. Within your body, and if, your body goes into this, is stuck in this fight or flight response, it lowers your distress tolerance level. So you need to make sure that all the organs work together to prepare your body to stay, this is also known as the stress response, and the three stages of the fight or flight, which are the alarm stage, the resistance stage, the exhaustion stage as well. And this is something that's quite historical as well. So this is an example that we've looked at in regards to fight or. So the fight or flight response is an adaptive mechanism that helps individuals react to perceived threats, whether they choose to confront the threat, which is fight, or escape from it, which is flight. So, the three stages, during the stages, they work together to try to implement any sort of elements of the fight or flight response. And there are benefits of the fight or flight response, which it plays a critical role in how we deal with stress and danger, and also it interacts with our body, and our body, it's a big part of our biological stress response, helping us to react to threats, or response represents a complex interplay. So we've finished this session now. These are the references that we've used for today's session, that you can refer to, and there's links there that you can refer to as well. Also, there's elements of, so just to give you a summary of what we've done in today's session, is we've looked at different elements of the organ body, the digestive system, the elements of the uterine system, the cardiovascular system. We've looked at different elements of the fight or flight response, and looked at identifying how they work together, how the organs work together. So, try to have a read around it, and look at the different elements of how the organs work together. So don't know what's happened there. Just 1 minute. Sorry about that, just 1 minute. So these are some of the references that you could go on. So if you go on to the end of the slides, the references are there that you could use. And also you could use elements of making sure that you look at the Moodle to get any sort of additional reading, and also looking at additional reading on Moodle that is available for you, to try to, identify elements of the human physiology in the body around it, looking at the element of the different organs of the state, so tissue, molecules, atoms, whether they are, used in regards to different organs and how they work together. It's really important to identify that these organs work together, interconnected, to make sure that, you know, we how the different systems work together. You know, we looked at the digestive system, the cardiovascular system, the respiratory system, the nervous system, how each of these work together to perform a function. We looked at elements of the different organs as well in Learning Outcome 1, and we looked at 4 types of tissues. So we looked at the epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscle tissue, and nervous tissue. We also look, there are lots of videos available for you on there that you could go and look at in your own time on the digestive system, how it works, the cardiovascular system, the respiratory system, and how they work. So you could go and have a look at them videos on there as well. We looked at the levels of organization within an organism, and also looked at level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. We looked at the examples of major organ systems in the human body, and we looked at the relationship between the structure and the function within different, so the relationship with the digestive system, with the uterine system or the cardiovascular system, how the lungs function, how the brain functions. And this is really important, how they function, and it's so important that they work together to perform a function. And we looked at an example which was the fight or flight response as well, and which is an automatic physiological response triggered when an individual perceives a stressful or threatening situation. And we went through examples of that, you know, how it either increases your heart rate, sweating, you know, makes you nervous, you know, anxiety, things like that. So we looked at that in Learning Outcome 1. So now we've finished Learning Outcome 1. The resources are available for you, and there's additional reading that you can go into Moodle, and there's a link on there called Healthcare Practitioners that you can have a read around. And if you've got any questions, please email learnerwork@ukvarsity.co.uk. Thank you for attending today's session, and the next learning outcome is Learning Outcome 2. Thank you.